hello, and happy Easter. Feels weird to be saying that in March, doesn't it? I'm so used to Easter being in April. Well, at least I didn't have to do a St. Patrick's Day special, right? When we talk about drunk action figures. What does a drunk figure even look like? Probably looks like this. I am a man of many hats. This is known. I'm here and I talk about my figures. Sometimes I dress up as a cow and I go dancing. But today I must switch my hat. The cow hat must go. And instead, today I must join the Pink Berets. This hat is worn by the Pink Berets from the 2011 movie Hop. Does anybody remember that film? It had Russell Brand in it and David Hasselhoff. I don't know which actor is more embarrassing to appear on the film. And it is by all accounts a terrible movie. It is not that good. But I saw it opening day. And I have a soft spot for the film. Guilty pleasure, people. And one thing I did enjoy about the movie, although is only in the movie for about 5 minutes, are these bunny girls. They're kind of like military army gals that go defending Easter. And I would say these gals, kind of like these Charlie's Angels bunny gals, are so great, they alone would have made for a much more interesting movie than Russell Brand pooping jelly beans. He really does that in the movie. And we did get some awesome action figures for the film. They actually made a whole line of toys. You can collect the entire world of Hop. These figures are pretty solid. They're good. They're really good. They're not Happy Meal or Kids Meal quality at all. These are nice collector PVC figures. So much so that, like, had these been packaged differently, like maybe on a base, I could see a company like McFarlane releasing something like this. They're that good. They have beautiful fur texture, lots of detail. I like how the cap, it looks like, is it sculpted? Yeah, the caps are their own sculpted piece. They're not, like, painted pink over the character. So there's no messy paint to speak of. Like, the figure is cast in fitting plastic with a pink beret on top, where the whole design is just so clean. And this just looks so much like the animation models came to life. Such a good representation of such a mediocre film. And I love the poses on these. I'm not huge on figures that don't have a lot of articulation, but you really get everything you need with these. I mean, they're almost identical, right? You could just use them as the same bunny. Technically, they have names, and I know them. There's Bit, which is the little one. There's Fluffy, which is kind of like the standard one, the leader. And then there's Patch, which is like the one with the brown eye patch around her eye, and she's like the tough girl. That's why she's doing the big kick, because she's tough. But you get all three in very dynamic poses. They're not articulated, but would you want to pose them in any other way? They look absolutely splendid. They make a great addition to any furry shelf. I just have them with all my bunny girls, but they would look good with a military setup. They'd look good with your holiday figures. Maybe have an Easter display. I just really like these figures. They are very underrated. And I have the hat, too. The Pink Beret replica cap. I found this at a thrift store, and I can barely find any information on it. Like, they did not make Halloween costumes in this movie, so why this prop replica of these obscure characters exists is beyond me. All I could find was, like, one mommy blogger. Anyone remember mommy bloggers? It was like a huge thing before YouTubers. Before the YouTubers got invited to press events, there were these mommy bloggers, and they'd, like, write blog spots about being a mom. But, they were invited to the premiere, and they were given these hats, so this is the mommy blogger exclusive Pink Beret hat. That makes me a real bunny revolutionary, doesn't it? But these are the Pink Beret girls, and they are kind of fire, kind of awesome, underrated figures. Okay, you know who's not underrated and is a major furry character is Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny was made to sell stuff. There's so much crud of Lola out there. I mean, that's why she exists, to sell things. And I've already featured the basic Space Jam 2 Lola, if you recall, on the first episode of Furry Figures. I said she was a solid and cheap figure. You should buy her. But I didn't go into some of the variants of Lola. For example, did you know they made Lola Bunny as Wonder Woman? Wow. Isn't that great? It's kind of a shame they had to go with the Zack Snyder design, and they didn't do something a little more classic, but I guess that's marketing synergy 101 for you, right? Now, a few years later, recently, like last year, when the Zack Snyder DC-verse crashed and burned, we got a second Lola Bunny figure as Wonder Woman. This one decidedly more classic. Now, unfortunately, this one is not posable. She is just a Burger King kids meal. But I will admit, for a kids meal, the sculpting is nice, and the design is so good, I almost prefer the kids meal to the actual action figure they made. Go figure. Here are some mini Lola Bunnies. They're very small, and I don't know why I spent $7 on these, but I like the solid pink one, and I wish they made a bigger solid pink one. Here is Lola Bunny as a Lego, and for a Lego figure, it's pretty good. You gotta admit that's pretty good. The original Lola Bunny from the 1996 Playmates toy line is a decent figure, displays nicely, but not a lot going on in the articulation department. I think I actually prefer the Space Jam 2 figure to this just because she does more, but, you know, if you really like hardline on the Lola OG design, this is sadly all you get. This is the only nice articulated figure they made of classic Lola. Unless you want her in a Harry Potter outfit, there's a beautiful 6-inch articulated Lola in a Harry Potter uniform that I don't have because it's exclusive to Canada and Australia. You lucky Canucks and Australians. I want that Lola. And while I may not have those international Lola figures, maybe you're living abroad and not in the States and you're watching this and you have those, maybe, just maybe, you live in the Philippines. And if you're watching this from the Philippines, you can get these crossover Lola Bunny action figures. We have Lola Bunny as Wilma from the Flintstones. Wilma! I mean, come on, who doesn't love the Flintstones? Is Daphne from Scooby-Doo Lola. Pretty neat. And there they are. These are unpainted. I should probably note that. These are prototypes. These are test shots. These are not the finished figures. The finished figures were only available in the Philippines. These are prototypes I ordered out of China, and it was cheaper to get a prototype out of China than a fully painted copy from the Philippines. If there's one furry bunny who is more famous than Lola, it would be Judy Hops. And I'm only going to feature one Judy in this video, the best Judy, because I am a Judy Hops devotee. I like Judy a lot, and I have a huge Judy collection, so much so that I could do my own video on just Judy figures. We could have a Judy special. I'm gonna go with the best Judy for this video, the Bondi Judy. I've talked at length how much I love this figure. This is one of the best action figures ever made for furries. If you are a furry and you have a interest in collecting, you need to add this to your collection. This is a phenomenal action figure. Dare I say, one of the best action figures ever made. And I've been collecting action figures my whole life. From Marvel Legends to Star Wars, I can tell you this figure is incredible. A phenomenal figure that not only captures the personality of the character with interchangeable faceplates and such amazing articulation. This figure is so dynamic. She can do so many different action poses. You can pose her sassy or sexy. I have all sorts of fun putting her in funny situations, but she really feels more like a stop motion puppet than a figure. You could just do so much with this toy. It's phenomenal. And Bondi managed to make a figure that not only feels like a premium collector's piece, but also feels very toy-like. Often with collector items, they can feel fragile or break, and Judy here looks very spindly, as you can tell. She has a lot of frail features, like her very thin feet and small tail, but I've used this figure for many photo shoots here on the channel, and she's never had any sign of wear and tear. I take this figure outside, I pose her in the tree, I pose her with the squirrels that live in my backyard, and she has no issue whatsoever. I have had modern Hasbro toys snap and break on me, but this Judy Hops collector figure manages to take a beating. Like, she can really go through anything. Like Judy Hops herself, right? She's a cop that can handle any situation, whether she's taken Tundra Town or the Rainforest District, right? A phenomenal figure, and a great tease at what a Zootopia collector line could be. getting a little bit of deja vu. The next one is another one I've covered before on the channel, but very early in the channel I covered this one, back when I was wearing the whole fox fursuit. This is the Caramel Bunny from Cadbury Chocolates. This is another international release, not where I live in the States. These were only available in the United Kingdom. And if you're watching this from the UK, you already know who this is. American viewers, maybe not so much, but Cadbury Caramel Chocolate is massive in the United Kingdom, and they have a very popular and very sexy animated bunny who is their spokeslady, known as the Cadbury Caramel Bunny. And like smooth, creamy caramel, she speaks very smoothly, and she likes to enunciate her words.
Looks like somebody else could do with some. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
They still use the character to this day in theme park attractions. She's like a big deal in the UK. She's a bit of a national icon, and she's a huge sex symbol. Popular there as Jessica Rabbit is here in the States. She's massive, and she has had a lot of cool merchandise, which I have tried my best to collect. The import fees, again, kill me. Oh my goodness, import fees are gonna be the death of me. But I have managed to get some caramel pieces, not just caramel chocolate, but collectibles. I have the mug that was given to the employees at the Cadbury Caramel Chocolate Factory. And I also have the figures that were sold at retail as action figures. Action figure, loosely defined, of course. They don't move, these are just PVC figures, but you get the same character in 4 poses. The only 4 poses you'd ever want to put her in. So in that sense, it's a near perfect action figure. Here she is holding a heart. It's a nice, sweet figure. Here she is giving some serious sass. She's kind of like, hey. Here's her most iconic pose, the seductive lay that is often pictured on the chocolate wrappers that she adorns. And finally, my favorite pose is this classic pinup Betty Page pose, which I don't know what you'd call this other than like admiring one's beauty, right? Kind of like when a lady sits there like with an old compact mirror and just kind of like admires how pretty she is. And she just looks good from every angle. Such a lovely figure, such a lovely set of figures. I got this a few years ago as a Christmas present, and I was delighted to receive these. Absolutely delighted. Very, very happy to have these. And now with these figures, I can take it easy and have some chocolate. Or in this case, coffee. Coffee gives me life. We're getting near the end, and we're getting very obscure. Who is this bunny? Do you know? I have asked this question before on the channel, I swear. This is like my go-to do you know figure. Just because it's such a nice figure. She's super articulated, very posable and detailed. People like it when I give them the full tour, but no one knows who this is. This is Peter Cottontail, not Rabbit. Rabbit's Corden. Cottontail is Casey Kasem. This is the Casey Kasem girlfriend from Here Comes Peter Cottontail, the Rankin Bass stop-motion special from the 1970s. It had a stellar action figure line in the early 2000s, back when all those companies were making sick Rankin Bass figures. Diamond Select, little old Diamond Select, who is now a big player in the 6-inch action figure industry. They kind of got their big break in the 2000s, making small-scale lines. And one of those smaller lines they did was Peter Cottontail. And these figures are awesome. I would love to have the Iron Tail and Sassafras and Cottontail. I love that special. Every Easter I watch it. It is the anti-Hop, right? If Hop is so bad it's good, and I watch it out of like, I don't know, masochism, then Peter Cottontail is good old God-honest cartoons. Like, Peter Cottontail is amazing. It's got good music. It's got a lot of soul put into it. If you haven't watched it lately, you should. The theme song is very soulful and very remorseful. It's hard to explain. It's called If I Could Only Go Back to Yesterday. And it's a bit of a breakup song. I just listened to it recently and thought, wow, this is a sad song to be in a kid's special, but they didn't talk down to kids back then. That was the 70s. Gas was $12. Life was hardcore. Anyways, Peter Cottontail. These figures are super expensive and super rare. That's why I don't have them. I only have Donna here, which is the name of the bunny girl. She's the cheapest out of the set, and she's a great figure. I just love her design so much. I love her little fluttering lashes. And I don't know, there's something about it I just like. The whiskers being mixed media and being like little pipe cleaner pieces almost, like little translucent plastic strands. It's hard to explain. Like the stuff that runs in between pipe cleaner. If you ever looked at pipe cleaner, not quite the full thing, but the little thing. And I do like her design a lot. You know, I covered a lot of voluptuous and curvy bunnies on this special, right? Very female-formed bunnies. But not this bunny. Donna is very pure and, you know, like the Rankin Bass specials are. The Rankin Bass specials are very Puritan, and that is to be admired. So you have a nice, non-sexualized female design. And she's a very fun character because she's way out of Peter Cottontail's league, and she knows it. She totally just, like, she dates him and has, like, a, you know, a one-night little date, and then she totally dumps him, which is hilarious and a lesson for a lot of men out there. It was Donna from Peter Cottontail. Not in the special much, but very memorable and giving us a very memorable action figure. Thank you, Donna. Alright, I got another obscure one. I got this one. This is another one I think I've shown on the channel before, just because it's such an oddity. This is a bizarre figure. Okay, have you ever seen the Sing movies by Illumination? The same studio that gave you Hop made Sing. This is Nicki Minaj, that's right, Nicki Minaj, as the bunny from Sing when she sings My Anaconda Don't, in a 3-second cutaway gag for the adults in the audience. And this is an action figure of that, with 2 points of articulation, meaning she has more articulation than the Hop bunnies. Now, despite the Sing movies being very successful and making billions of dollars, they've never had action figures. They've only had plush, believe it or not. This is an unlicensed bootleg I bought at my local flea markets. Flea markets are fun. You find old stuff, and you find bootlegs, and I love a good bootleg, and this is the best kind of bootleg in my book, because this is a bootleg toy of something that they didn't make. I love when bootleg makers fill in a gap, and can make something that doesn't exist. It also isn't as skeezy, you know? It's not like they're taking money out of Jakks Pacific or Mattel's pockets, because they didn't make Sing figures. In this case, this is a unique sculpt, and whoever sculpted this, and it's probably some poor, very unpaid laborer in some country with questionable work practices in a very seedy factory, if I had to just guess, did a really good job. It looks enough like the character. Not exact, but enough to where I spotted it and found who it was. I saw this, they were just loose in a bin at a flea market. It wasn't packaged, it was just like a whole bin of these, and I thought, I know who that is, and that's the bunny, Nicki Minaj from Sing. So one of the stranger figures I own, but she's cute and fun, and I don't know, kind of a fun conversation piece. Look how much I talked about it. A figure that's barely painted and barely moves. Pretty interesting. And finally, we have the last bunny figure, a figure that is pretty well known throughout the furry community. She's a recent release that I have seen talked about a lot, and that is the One Piece bunny. So One Piece is this big anime that's very popular right now, about this pirate guy that stretches, and that is all I know about it. I have never seen One Piece in my life. I only know him as the stretchy pirate guy. There's a live-action remake that's very popular, so it's very, very in right now. And as such, One Piece merchandise is very common. So you could just go into any shop, hobby shop, you know, comic book store and pick this up for $20. And I bought this. She comes in kind of a box. You have to build her like a model kit. So I built my beautiful bunny woman, and I'm impressed by this figure. She's a lot bigger than I thought. For 20 bones, that's a nice figure. She's like, what, 9 inches tall? She got long legs. And, you know, I'm not big on anime, not huge, but I dig her. I love her little bunny face. I like her pose, her big poofy tail. I like the little mini dress. I dig this design a lot. It almost makes me want to watch One Piece. Look at that. You put a seductive, shapely bunny girl, and suddenly I'm interested. I'm a troubled man. But, you know, at least now I can say I have one of those sad anime figures that every guy in their 20s has. You know, I always see them at the comic book shows. This army of bikini bimbo girls. And, I mean, they're sexy figures, but you can't move them, and that bothers me. I like to be in control of my figures, okay? I am like the puppet master of my toys. I like to put my figures in funny poses. I like to stick them in funny situations. That's just how I have them displayed. And when a figure is stuck in a pose, it doesn't do anything. And another thing, often statues are made of heavy, fragile materials, and this one is made of plastic. This is just like a action figure. Like, I hold this in my hands and it feels like a Marvel Legend, right? Or maybe a McFarlane Batman. It's got a little more weight to it. But enough weight to where she can withstand an earthquake. And actually, we did just have an earthquake in California a couple weeks ago, and she fell. She just kind of popped off her stand, and she's in immaculate shape. The girl survived a quake. She can survive anything. So that is the final bunny figure of the special. And I thought I would end on this one because this is one that's easy to get. I know I featured a lot of rare bunny figures in this special, but keep in mind, I always say I find my toys at the flea market. I am a flea market diehard. I do flea markets once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And I don't pay retail for anything. I don't like to go on eBay and just drop scalper prices. That is not who I am. I find this stuff in the wild. I will wait years if I have to. Like with that Judy, you know? You just wait and the item will come up. But you can't just, you know, sit around and, I don't know, watch Breaking Bad all day. You gotta get out there and you gotta find and hunt. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Like you're looking for the eggs, except instead of eggs full of chocolate, as a wondrous child looking for chocolate, you gotta be in the body of a 24-year-old man looking for curvy bunny figures. Happy Easter.